Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and this is the Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what? Your money. Yes, ladies. So today, we are going to be talking about the cost of unhealed trauma. Now, because ShaCarri, how do you say, is it ShaCarri or ShaCarri? Which one? ShaCarri, ShaCarri? Y'all frozen? Am I frozen?
I say ShaCarri, but I've heard it pronounced both ways.
I thought it was ShaCarri too, but then I thought I heard Tiara say ShaCarri, so I'm gonna say ShaCarri. All right, so we talking about ShaCarri Richardson's recent struggles. Her story shows us how untreated trauma can really impact mental health and has the potential to affect financial opportunities if it's left unaddressed. We're gonna talk about how trauma affects young people in the spotlight, how to recognize and address it early, and ways to keep it from ruining your life and your career. Here's the question. How do we break the cycle of trauma before it threatens our success and our financial stability? So we're going to have this engaging conversation with the most dope ass queens on the planet. First up, we have Miss SEW. What's happening, Miss Sabrina? How you doing?
Hello. I'm all in. I'm ready.
You ready? I keep calling her Miss, but she is Doctor. Okay. And then we have the B. Big Coach. Hey, what's happening? Miss Felice herself. How you doing, lady? You good? You good? Okay. And then finally, last but certainly not least, we have the doctor and the real estate agent, the psychic medium, and the stand-up comedy. Listen, this lady does it all, okay? We have Dr. Charm in the building. What's up, ladies? What's up? Wait.
You're so kind, Constance.
I try to be, but I thought I was going to try to do, never mind. I was going to try to do some applause for y'all, but I should already had it set up. I was going to do it the last minute. Anyway, ladies, okay, so you guys have seen ShaCarri. There's been a couple of incidences with ShaCarri and, the marijuana thing. Now there's this whole domestic violence thing. I didn't even get to watch it. I kind of seen it as I was scrolling through social media. So before we get started, I want to take a look at the video because I want to know what we're talking about. Like, why are we up in arms? And of course, we got the good doctor, Felice here, that can really, bring it all the way down to therapize us, because we do really need to know about how do we deal with trauma. You're this person, you have this childhood, you grow up in this environment, and then you're hit with all this money. And are you supposed to be able to change overnight? So those are some questions that I think that need to be addressed. But let's take a look at the video. Oh yeah, she was doing the most. So, ladies, I want to ask the good Dr. Felice first. What did you think about when you saw that video? You're muted, baby.
It's disturbing, right? First, because a lot of times we always talk about men putting hands on women, but we have the same responsibility not to do the same towards them. And you could see where he was trying to not engage with her on that level and trying to get away from her, but she was insistent and persistent about getting in his personal space in a way that was very intrusive, aggressive, and probably wasn't necessary, especially in an open setting like that. Like, what did you intend for that to be? And why would you want to embarrass him like that? Like, that felt very humiliating. It felt degrading. I mean, when I saw it for him, and I get it, but then I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel good. It felt very uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, clearly she's seen that somewhere, because if you're doing that in public like that, you got to be doing that shit in private. That's what I think. What you think, Dr. Charm?
I think it's unfortunate. I mean, people need to realize that the airport is federal property. And so the behavior is distasteful as is, but when you take it to the level of your own, you're in an airport, it's a state and federal property, you run the risk of being on a no-fly list. So, I heard rumors that she found out he was cheating. It really doesn't matter what she had found out, allegedly. It doesn't matter. We just, impulse control. I used to tell my daughter this all the time when she was little. Impulse control.
Absolutely. What about you? What did Dr. Sabrina? What are your thoughts when you seen that?
I just thought she wasn't thinking. She clearly was having a moment, and she was not thinking at all. She has too much to lose, so she wasn't thinking.
Yeah. I mean, normal people don't do stuff like that in airports. So let me ask you, Dr. Felice. She's been in headlines for years, just for different things. How do you think maybe untreated trauma played a role in some of these challenges that she's had? Dr. Felice?
I know it seems like an excuse, right? Because you do have the responsibility to get help when you know that you're in a deficit, or when you know that you're struggling in certain areas. But people with trauma really do have difficulty regulating their emotions and behaviors. And so a lot of times when you see people showing up like that, it is a clear signal that they have some undealt with, unhealed trauma. I mean, we've been around people like that at family reunions and stuff. Like, we hate inviting them because we already know they're going to come with some stuff that's going to happen, because they don't know how to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to reel it in. And it's because they really don't.
Yeah.
And when you don't heal that trauma, that's how you show up in spaces. And unfortunately, even people who do have understanding of it, we still don't accept it or get down with it, right? Like, I understand it, but you then go get help. Let's go get you some help. Right. And she's in the headlines enough.
Yeah.
It's cost her, right?
Yeah, it's already cost her. It's already cost her.
Right. You've already had history where your behaviors have cost you. So now get the help so that you don't keep making these, these destructive patterns. Because what she's doing is she is creating patterns that she can't break. And so that's what she needs help.
So let me ask you this. If you, Dr. Charm, found out your boyfriend was cheating while you was getting ready to go on a trip, no matter who you are, do you think you'd be able to regulate your emotions?
No, there would probably be some yelling and stuff going on. I would say I would probably stop it. I would keep my hands to myself. And then I'm also a person that I don't like public scenes. So I got like 3 signs in Capricorn, and we are not into public scenes. But I got to give y'all a little bit of an astrological perspective for Miss ShaCarri, because I'm looking at her chart. Astrologically, she is an Aries sun, and she's got a moon in Sagittarius and a Pluto in Sagittarius on her moon. And what that means is that's a lot of fire. These are fire planets. And so when people have a fire dominant chart like that, you're gonna act first and think later. And so that's an extra mile that she has to overcome, just having a personality of she's reactive.
Yeah. So Dr. Sabrina, you think, like, for young people who may be suddenly, and then Felice, can you mute yourself? For young people who suddenly get fame or maybe financial success, what are some of the biggest emotional landmines or challenges you think that they face?
Just being in the spotlight all the time.
Yeah.
You have no there's no grace. There is no chance to do it wrong. You got to do it right all the time, every time. And even though I'm with the rest of the panel, I disagree with the way that she responded. In full transparency, I've been ShaCarri. I've been that girl. I don't know who y'all thought Jasmine was talking about when she wrote that song, I Bust the Windows Out Your Car. I was that girl. I was that girl, but I was also 19, and that was what I knew. That was my norm. That is what I had been exposed to. That is how you respond when you disagree with your mate, when you have a mate that's cheating on you. That's what I knew. And so to Dr. Felice's point, you have to treat that. You have to address that. If that's all you know, and that's the only way that you know to respond, then that's how you respond. And you don't always think about where you are, even if you are a public figure in a public place.
Let me tell you something. Looks can be deceiving, because I would have never thought Dr. Sabrina was one of them ones that's going to bust them windows and slash them tires, sis. I may have thought that Dr. Charm might have been one, but not Dr. Sabrina.
Wait, how did I catch a flight?
Well, I'm just saying, you just kind of stray, sis.
I asked for forgiveness. I did. I asked for forgiveness.
And you know what? I'm actually more with Dr. Charm. Now, I act like, it's going to be some slow singing and some flower breaking, but I'm not going to act a damn fool in public. I'm just not going to do it. I cannot bring myself down. But my mama was her. And I think that's why. My mama was her and my daddy wasn't. So I'm more like my father than I'm like my mother. But I've seen my mama go ham and beat up some chicks behind my daddy. But here's the thing about ShaCarri. She was raised primarily by her grandmother and her aunt, which already set a non-traditional family structure in her early life. In 2021, just before the U.S. Olympics, she learned from a reporter during an interview that her biological mother passed away. I remember that. Then she said she was unprepared for that moment, especially finding out in such a public and abrupt way. So that she's had to deal with a lot. And then her upbringing has been so untraditional. And so, you got to give grace. There's so many factors. Not just that she's had this trauma. She's young. How old is she now? 19, 20? She's young. So like the expectation is not to be that of somebody who's, more seasoned and who's had more life experience. And then if you found out your man was cheating, it's a lot. So, I wouldn't do it, but I can't really judge her for it either. But we'll talk more about it when we come back from the break.
It's a good show right here, but I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
So welcome back to the Fly Nubian Money. We're talking about Miss ShaCarri. I was corrected. I stand corrected. Miss ShaCarri Richardson, she was just recently arrested for some domestic violence that she had, with her boyfriend. So we're talking about the cost of unhealed trauma. Could this trauma in her career, what is it? So there's another video that we have. I think is of her getting arrested. Let's take a look at that.
Can I at least pay for bail? I cannot bail out? Can I at least take the clothes off in the back seat, please? I'm not gonna resist y'all.
Is your name Miss Richardson?
My name is ShaCarri Richardson.
Do you have any weapons on you?
No, I don't have anything. You can see my hat up. I don't have anything on me.
So I'm just gonna be a transport vehicle.
Can you please take these off?
Unfortunately not, ma'am.
I'm not a criminal.
I know you're not, but
I'm
unfortunately
not a criminal. I had an argument with my boyfriend.
Can you take a seat in the car, please?
You know what? I'm not resisting y'all. I was in the car. This is crazy. Y'all not even listening to me. I do. You want me to take it off? It's not a weapon. Like, I'm not resisting.
Take a seat.
I had to argue with my boyfriend.
ShaCarri,
Can y'all please just listen to me as a person? It's ShaCarri.
You have to go ahead and.
This is crazy. Are you serious right now? Because I argue with my boyfriend.
All over stuff.
Now that's just sad. Who's a punk ass bitch that called the police? That's what I want to know. I mean, do you think that was warranted, for those pushing and those shovings for her to be arrested and the police to be called? Like, was it really warranted, Dr. Sabrina?
I question that. And I mean, I know I probably get some feedback from the people in the chat, and that's fine. You may disagree, but I question if she had not been who she is, would we be having this conversation? Would anybody be up in arms about the fact that these people were pushing and shoving in the airport? People saw it, they would have seen it and kept walking. I'm not trying to justify it, but I just sitting there listening to her again. I go back to my 19-year-old self, and that's where I was. So,
yeah. What about you, Dr. Charm? Do you think that was a warranted arrest?
Oh, well, I mean, the law says it was a warranted arrest. She assaulted him. Now, whether we've seen that happen in public before, and the cops haven't been called. So I will agree that her being a celebrity played a factor into it. Because I mean, it wasn't like she was like stolen on them, but some light shoving. But she still broke the law, allegedly. And then somebody put in the comments about media training and finishing school, and it reminds me of the Motown years. Quite a few of those artists that were on Motown, they came from the straight up projects, and they put them through, they had classes and instruction on comportment and how to behave and how to be classy. And a lot of the celebrities that we have now, they haven't gone through that type of training and finishing school and things of that sort. I know the NFL and the NBA, I know they would have classes and things for the newer athletes to teach them about some of the pitfalls, to avoid some of the pitfalls. But I hope that ShaCarri has the right people around her, and so that she can avoid these type of incidents.
Yeah. So, Dr. Felice, do you think this arrest was warranted?
This is what I think, that as Black people, we have to always know and be aware of our surroundings, and that there's two Americas, right? Like there's one for one set of people and one for another. Now, first of all, about her being famous, she had on a baseball cap and a hoodie. I don't know who really recognized her, and I don't mean any harm, but she's tracked, right? So like, I wouldn't have recognized her as being someone famous, but it would have perturbed me in a crowded airport that you possibly hitting on somebody that can run into me, you know what I mean? Because you can't manage your emotions. And she laid hands on somebody, right? Like, you cannot put your hands on people. And you got to know where you at. You didn't know you was at an airport. You didn't know that you wasn't around other people who at any given moment will want to report you just from being Black alone. Like, come on. I mean, I don't know, like, what delusion do we live in where we don't know who we are and where we live? And that people are not really gracious towards us. They don't care what your age is. They don't care if you are nobody or somebody. Yeah. And so you just got to be aware. And for her not to be aware, with her being in the spotlight, ridiculous. Like, this is what you do. You find out he's cheating. You call your girlfriend and say, hey, do you want to come on a trip with me? Because I'm not going with bruh. Yeah. Right? That's what you do. Right? And then, you want to talk later with him, but you don't take him on a trip, or you don't go. That's what you do.
I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, I think she's just young, and this is a hard lesson. This is a tough lesson for ShaCarri. I felt like my heart really went out to her when she was begging and pleading, and I feel bad for her because in those moments, I don't think she did know what she was doing. And so for people to say, oh, she deserved to go to jail, or, what if she was a guy or whatever, she wasn't hurting that man. Honestly, like, I know we all equal opportunity on a lot of stuff, but he's twice her size. She wasn't hurting him. He didn't call the police. He didn't say that she felt that he felt like he was being abused. So, for me, I don't know. I felt bad for him. I think she needs to learn a lesson.
You have sons.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should be putting their hands on your boys either. We
Yep.
have equal responsibility not to lay hands. And
Right.
it's really more of a responsibility for us as women, because we know what it can do to our Black boys when we lay hands on them and then we report them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or,
honestly,
like, seriously, like a lot of our Black men have their mugshots because of a woman invoking them and provoking them to protect themselves. And so we have equal responsibility not to lay hands. Now, I do feel sad for her, but how many of these powerful lessons is she going to need before somebody, even if not her, somebody in her inner circle don't escort her to get some help? Like, how many times do you have to be embarrassed? Like the first thing she had, like, that was heartbreaking. Right. And so you have to have heartbreak after heartbreak publicly for you to say, hey, let me step back and get some help. And I know she's young, but she's not 12. Yeah. Okay. And you don't have a right to put your hands on anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, when you put it in that perspective, my son actually got into some trouble last year. He's at homecoming, and then my middle son was at homecoming with them. So my middle son's still in high school. So it was this girl, he was always giving him rides to this young girl. And she just kind of felt really entitled. So he's at somewhere with his friends, and she was telling all the boys, get out, I'm in, whatever. It's not his girlfriend, but just some little girl, right? So anyway, he leaves. They go to his dorm. She goes to his car. She ransacks his car, steals his wallet, does all this stuff. So he's like, dang. So then they go to a party. Now she's, right? My son lost it. And my son does not hit girls, but he lost it. And they ended up getting into a little tussle, and it just got bad. And so later, because of all this stuff happened, I told him, you need to go to the dean, go to the police department, like go everywhere, because, and then, she started threatening her, my cousins my brothers from Oakland and DC finna come up here, shoot you, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you need to make sure that, they know what happened. They know, all the things. And she ended up getting suspended. But what ended up happening is his reputation got totally ruined by that, because then she started posting, they have this anonymous Twitter thing on campus, and she started posting all this stuff about him being a woman beater and stuff like that. And so then for him, that shadow stayed with him the whole year. I think it was the sophomore year, the whole year, because he lost his self-control. And, we've had these conversations before, and it's unfortunate because, remember, I teach my son to be a gentleman. I teach him to be kind. But what ended up happening is he was a sucker. And so these little girls, girls that was taking advantage of it. And, that ended up happening. And it's unfortunate, but I could see how, that could actually get you fucked up, get you hurt if you, press it on the wrong ones. So, it's unfortunate for both, because my heart still goes out to her. And, even the little girl that happened to, like, she's still, she's the one I ended up getting suspended. My son didn't. But I feel, I never like any type of conflict, and it's not cool on in any way. So anyway, we got another break. We're going to come back, and there's a couple of more videos I want to see that talk a little bit more and dive a little bit deeper into trauma. So let's go to the break.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money, and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Listen, y'all, this is the Fly Nubian Money, and we are talking about Miss ShaCarri Richardson. She had a little scuffle at an airport a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, and it was some domestic violence, and was arrested. And so we're talking about, trauma. Can unhealed trauma actually ruin her career? Is she gonna be all right? Well, let's look at this next video that kind of deals with unhealed trauma and how that tends to show up. And then let's talk about it.
It's crazy to me how some Black people still think that childhood trauma just disappears once you become an adult. I saw a post of ShaCarri Richardson. She was apologizing to her boyfriend for their recent domestic dispute. And in the apology, she mentioned like her past trauma affects the way that she is in relationships right now. And people in the comments was like, we too old to be using our trauma as an excuse. And while I'm not saying that people should just be able to just throw their trauma in everybody's faces and be able to just treat people like shit, but to think that childhood trauma doesn't affect how adults are behaving is crazy, especially in the Black community. It wasn't until recent years where we got rid of the stigma that comes with going to therapy and addressing our mental health. So remember back in the day when you would go through something traumatic and your family wouldn't get you any therapy or any type of help, and they would tell you not to speak about this anymore, this stays in the home, and then you would just walk through life and you started having issues in school and issues with people and trust issues and all types of stuff, but it wasn't being addressed. Those issues don't just go away once you become 25, 26 years old. In fact, that's really when the shit creeps up on you. You start to go inside yourself and think like, why am I behaving this way in relationships? Why do I drink the way that I do? Why am I doing drugs? Why do I have a sex addiction? You start thinking all of these things and then it clicks. Oh, wow, it's because of what happened in my childhood. I never addressed that trauma. I never had time to process that. We had to sweep that under the rug. I'm happy that we're more open with conversations about mental health, but I do think that we also do need to take into the account that this is new for us. We're like the first Black generation that really took away the
Now that is true because, Black people have dealt with trauma since forever. Since the inception of this country, and the whole idea of mental health is very, very new for us. And, being able to control that trauma. And then listen, a few years ago, we had dogs sicked on us. We had fire hoses. We had to deal with the terrors, the sheer terror of, wondering if somebody was going to come and kill us or hang us and things like that. So we've dealt with the trauma. But let's talk about why do so many people even today, maybe avoid getting help, especially in the Black community, since it's something that we're now seeing more of? Why do you think people avoid getting help, Dr. Charm?
I think there's guilt, there's shame associated with it. I think that we've normalized a lot of this behavior. I mean, look at the music, the rap music like we listen to. Like you talking about killing and hurting another Black person. I mean, that's the subject matter of the music as a basis, and no other culture is talking like that in their music but us.
Yeah.
So, and of course, that's corporate control. But regardless if it's corporate control or not, we're constantly being fed messages of harm one another. So there's that. But as far as the childhood trauma conversation, I was just watching a clip of, I think Randy Jackson from the Jackson family was commenting on, I think he and Tito were commenting on how they were portrayed in that Jackson family movie, the TV movie that came out years ago, how Joe Jackson was portrayed. Like, he beat his kids and all this. And he was just like, he didn't like the way that Joe was portrayed. He said, your childhood is such a small part of your life. Our father raised us, but he wasn't this monster that everybody portrayed. And so everybody's viewpoint is different. And I know ShaCarri has childhood trauma, but it's her responsibility. It was that the majority of her life has been as an adult at this point now. Well, she's 25. I'll put it's at half and half at this point. But as you matriculate, as you get older, that's going to be behind you. So you gotta leave it where it's at, and it has to be left in the past. And the best way to leave it in the past is to work through it so that it doesn't affect your present. Because when things start to mess up your money, your relationships, your ability to earn a living, there's all these things that guarantee a bright future, then this is a major problem.
Right. That is true. That's true. So for you, Dr. Sabrina, since she was out there bashing out windows and shit, what was the moment in your life that you realized I might need to address this, or it's going to cost me everything?
For me, actually, I think a lot of things happen. So I can agree with the young lady. I'm looking at the comments, and some people are, very indifferent on the impact of childhood trauma. I think we are all individuals, okay? So something can happen to me. I can go through a situation and I might respond one way. Somebody else can go through that same situation and it just breaks them to the core. So we have our opinions and we make our comments, but who are you to say how someone else should react or respond when you've never walked a mile in that person's shoes? And again, I agree that something needs to be done, but we have to remember, if no one has ever told you or shown you or modeled a certain behavior for you, then how do you really know that something is wrong with your response when that has been your reality? Everybody around me, I see, every woman I see, every man I see that has a dispute, when they disagree, they lay hands on each other. I began to think that that's how people are supposed to respond.
Yeah,
so true.
To answer the question that you asked me, I think it took over time. It happened when I saw myself moving from one version of myself to another, moving into the professional realm. There are some things that had to happen. And I'm going to be, again, 100% transparent on here. I got therapy. There was no shame in that for me. I recognized that there were some things that I needed to work on, and I did seek the help that I needed. But to put this in perspective, and I'm going to move on, I saw violence, domestic violence, from the time I was 4 years old. Okay. From the time I was 4 years old up until my aunt was killed at the age of 15. I was 16. So that's a 12-year period of my life that I witnessed this almost on a, daily basis. That was my reality, you guys. I don't know what ShaCarri has been exposed to, but we have to really be careful even in our judgments because we don't know.
That's true. Man, you hit that on the head. That's real. Dr. Felice, I know you therapizing everybody else, but have you ever personally experienced a time when maybe unresolved trauma may have impacted your decision-making, your relationships?
I'm sure, I'm a domestic violence baby. I came here early because my father looked my mother's behind. I witnessed it. I have it in my book where I prayed over my mom because he almost killed her. And so I witnessed it. And like Dr. Sabrina said, everybody's different. I didn't lay hands on people because I witnessed it, but that was me. My trauma possibly came up in the way that I chose partners, right? Because I didn't have that father figure in my life the way that I thought that I should. I possibly chose partners that weren't the best for me because of my unhealed perceptions of what my trauma was like in my past. And so, yeah, I think it came up in certain ways like that. But I'm not trying to say everybody is different. Like Dr. Sabrina said, we're individuals. I didn't have my trauma show up with me in ways in which I behaved. So I was a child who listened. If my mama said, you don't go there, you don't do that, I believe my mama and didn't do it. And so if she said you don't lay hands on people, I didn't lay hands on people. So, that was the way I grew up. And I grew up with intense domestic violence. Like, I grew up in the hood where people fought it out, and stuff like that. And so everybody's an individual, but that's just not how I behaved. And so I don't have like really big traumatic. I'm sure my trauma showed up in the way that I handled money, right? Because from the trauma of poverty and the mindset of scarcity. So it showed up in ways like that, in the way that I handled money and was afraid to budget, was afraid to be able to, do things right with money. So my trauma showed up in different ways because I know that money probably affected me way more when I was growing up in the hood than people laying hands on. So it all depends on how things land on certain people. And I know that scarcity was traumatic to me. And so that was trauma for me. And that's how it possibly showed up in my life.
That's interesting. I want to look at a couple of slides just about how trauma shows up, like why we do what we do. Let's take a look. Data from the National Domestic Violence Hotline shows that men are less likely to report domestic abuse, and cases involving male victims often receive less media attention. Research indicates that early mental health intervention can reduce the likelihood of career impacting incidents by over 40%. Studies show that public scandals can reduce the endorsement income, by up to 30 to 50% for professional athletes. Indeed, it's happened. We've seen it time and time again. How many times have we seen, public athletes, professionals lose endorsements because they couldn't control themselves, Dr. Charm?
Shannon Sharp.
He just lost how much on ESPN?
I don't even know. How much was that?
I don't know. He lost a $50 million deal or something like that over some
100 million.
Well, that's the podcast. The podcast hasn't been discontinued. Is still up in the air. But the ESPN, he did lose that job, so I don't know how much that one was.
That she said 100 million.
100 million
For some
Wait,
white.
so the ESPN's sportscasting gig was 100. Oh Lord.
For some white tail that Cat Williams warned him about.
What did he say? Take your rabbit ass out in 2 weekends.
And then she announced on social media, "Thank you everybody for your support. I'm now retiring from OnlyFans."
And she had got her surgery too. She had did all her new surgery photos.
She said, "I am now retired, sis." So a lot of people, they lose a lot because they cannot control themselves, and that's unfortunate. I mean, well, that's a whole other subject. But there's another video I want to take a look at of ShaCarri coming back and owning up to her mistake.
Hey y'all, it's ShaCarri, and more than anything, definitely a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding of not only putting myself in a compromised situation, but somebody that I have a deep care and appreciation for as well is something that holding myself accountable. I see myself, I'm taking this time to not only see myself, but get myself a certain level of help that overall is going to reflect who I truly am in my heart and my spirit, and not allowing this moment, but accepting this moment to be more. And so my only thing is I want to be more, not even just for myself, for my family, for my fans, and overly appreciate y'all supporting me and showing up and even holding me accountable to being my best self. So more than anything, I refuse to my family, for my fans, and overly appreciate y'all supporting me and showing up and even holding me accountable.
Listen, I'm not mad at the apology. I know some people said that they don't like it, but she's young. And my thing is this: when I see all these apologies after people get caught doing shit, they want to blame their trauma. I got Black friends. I don't know what happened. They'll blame everybody else. And, I've seen so many apologies where they're really not apologizing because they really feel remorseful. They're apologizing because they have to, but then they put it off on everybody else. She sounded like she took full responsibility in her immature way, but she sounds to me, what do you guys think of her apology? Anybody can go.
it was too much me, me. And I saw the apology, I think yesterday or earlier today, and I was just like, this is so self-centered. Like you know, you harmed your boyfriend, you embarrassed him, you put him in a situation where he could have gone to jail. Because what if he had snapped? And then just the disturbance to the public. So I didn't care for that apology. She did apologize, and that's good. But I think she needs to be introspective, but not self-centered.
What about you, Dr. Felice?
I'm glad she came out with the apology and acknowledged what she did, but you don't hear where she says she's going to get help. Like, I would have liked to where she says, you know, I'm glad, you know, thank you for holding me accountable. I'm going to get some help, you know, to help me be able to, you know, show up better. Like, because I still think there's this missing piece. Like, I just sense there's a missing piece with her, and it's due to some immaturity, but she's 25. Her frontal lobe is fully developed now. So, you know, like, there's still a missing piece where she's not stating and acknowledging that maybe I do need some help going forward, because this is affecting your coin. Her coin, and a lack of it is just going to add another layer of stress for her, that if she's not getting help, it's just going to be harder for her to, like, you know. So I would love for, you know, give me her contact information. I would love to be able to, you know, talk with her, like, because I don't like to just be saying stuff. Like, I would love to be a part of her solution. So if anybody can get that contact to me, I would love it.
Dr. Felice offering up them services.
Come on, let's go. What about you, Dr. Sabrina? What do you think about that apology?
She apologized. I mean, who am I to say whether it was, you know, whether it was sincere or not? I don't know that. Only she knows that. She apologized. And then, you know, the thing that we have to think about is that's what she said to us. But the reality is she offended her boyfriend. You know, that's who first and foremost the apology should have been given to. And none of us know what that conversation was like, because we're not privy to that. That was her apology to the public. So
I'm with you on that, Dr. Sabrina. It's like we can pick apart this girl's apology to the hilt, but like at the end of the day, it affects none of us. And the only person that it affects is that guy and her coins and her money. But it doesn't, like, she really don't have to apologize to us. She don't owe us nothing.
So let me can I put this in the room though?
Absolutely.
Like, I just want us to know that as human beings, we pick and choose who we give grace to. Because we have certain people that we've had apologies and we were like picking it apart. And so the fact is that she gave an apology, right? That is the publicist's public relations thing to do, and she did it. And at the end of the day, like, you know, some people we don't pick apart their stuff, and some people we do. Like, you know what I mean? And that comes from our past too. Like, I have an affinity towards women, so I'm more harder on my apologies when it comes to men than it is to women. I'm just saying, like, we even have biases when it comes to how we pick apart people's stuff. And so
I think it's human nature. I think it's human nature, right?
It is human nature, but like, seriously, we have to help her too. Like, if we're going to help her, we got to give her really good feedback instead of sugarcoating her stuff, because at the end of the day, no matter what we do, there's a certain way and responsibility that we have and how we show up in this world, and that people will judge us, they will criticize us, they will cancel us, they will take our coins. And so we need to be able to help her properly. And we help her by giving a helping hand and letting her know, ma'am, we get why you did this. We understand it was trauma. Now, how do you get the help you need so you can stop showing up like this? Because if you are going to come out in public, there's a way in which you need to do it, whether you're famous or not. You don't have to be famous. If I see you hitting on somebody, I would want somebody to call, famous or not famous.
I'm going to offer her the services of my acting coach, because I need her to internalize so she could come up with a better apology, because she was practically smirking all up and through that apology. And so, you know, when you get some real good acting, you get to the root, and she can use that trauma to help get a better apology out, because that one sucked. But that's just me.
Preferably, like, somebody in her circle is going to give her what she needs. But for me, it's like, okay, that didn't serve me one way or the other. But I'm going to ask you, since we on that, Dr. Charm, do you have a time, or can you share a time maybe when there was a decision that you made from a place of hurt that you later regretted? And how were you able to recover? Was it because of your drama coach?
Well, you know what though? Actually I'm an actress, and I've been acting since I was probably 15 years old. And
Anonymous said, why does a doctor need an acting coach?
Well, I was an actress before I was a doctor, but the class, the acting that I took, it was called Meisner and Viewpoints, and it was actually like going to therapy. They actually had us do like sign a release, because it got to the root of your emotions, and so when you're bringing a character forward, you're coming from the place of what's going on in my life, and so I don't have many decisions that I regretted, because I'm just like, I've lived, but I can say, I think on relationship choices, I can say like my decision to stay with people when I've seen red flags and not exit stage right immediately, that I think comes from trauma of having an absent father and, this fear of rejection. And so now it feels empowering to be in a place where if I see a red flag, I'm out the door immediately, because I'm like, you know what, I love myself enough to not be putting myself in those type of positions. And that's what you come to when you've had 15 years of therapy on and off, and some good acting classes that help release all that, because for me, performing is therapy. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, and she's a great stand-up comedian. So where you performing next?
City Winery, y'all. I'm on the bill. Atlanta City Winery, September 15th. Yeah.
Hey, so let me ask you, from your experience, Dr. Sabrina, how do you know today that you have truly broken the cycle?
How do I know?
How do you know?
I guess because I'm in a different place now, even with my thinking. And I want to make something clear. I see a lot of people commenting about her age. Okay, age. So can we, are we saying that a person, all people that are 25 years old should be at the same point, no matter what their life experience has been, no matter what their exposure has been, no matter what their financial standings are, they all should be at the same point because they are 25 years old? Can we really, really sit here and say that? I cannot say that, but what I can say is that I am not my 25-year-old self.
Yeah.
Life has happened. I've had a lot of experiences, and I think there comes a time in your life, and for those of you that are, have not gotten to the season that I'm in, where you realize life really is about finding purpose. Your purpose. And when you're walking in your purpose, when you're trying to do what you were truly created to do, you show up differently.
I love it.
I guess the answer to your question, Candace, would be because I am in a season where I am walking in my purpose. But the reason why I feel like the good Lord created me, then there are just certain things that I know I cannot do. And it has nothing to do with whether I'm going to be caught on videotape or this, that, and the other. I don't think nobody cared that much about me for that to even matter. But the point is, because I am truly trying to walk in my purpose, my actions have to change.
What's your purpose?
My purpose is to educate my people. There are so many things that I think we don't know. I think there are things that there are some of us who have known, but for whatever reason, we choose not to share with others. And so my purpose, my God-given purpose on this earth is to educate. And that's why I always lead with educator, author, and investor. First and foremost, whether I ever write another book or not, whether I ever buy another property or not, that's what I'm here to do.
That's good. So for you, Dr. Charm, what are some habits maybe that you've developed, like that you've built now, so that you don't slip into old patterns of where you were when you were 25? What are some things that you've done? Some resistances that you've built?
I think therapy is a big thing, but also giving myself grace, because I'm extremely hard on myself. I'm a type A personality, overachiever, and giving myself grace to say, okay, that was an experience. You learn from that. Okay, now we're gonna consciously make different choices. And I'm proud of that. And I think I was reading something about listing things that you've accomplished that day is something that helps strengthen. I know y'all I'm an astrologer, y'all, so the planet Saturn is hard work. That's the taskmaster, that's the father, that's the ambition, that's getting things done. And so, like, if you want to accomplish more in life, like, you got to acknowledge what you've done. So there's this exercise of taking stock, like writing things down that you got done that day. And I sat and did that Monday, and I was like, you know what? I came up with like 7 or 8 things, and I was feeling that day like, man, I didn't really do shit today. And then when I sat and made my little list, I said, wait a minute, you got a lot done. So really patting yourself on the back, giving yourself grace is something that's very important. I really feel in just improving ourselves.
Good stuff. So for you, Felice, if you could talk to your younger self and before, like, your success that you've had as a therapist, what would you say about protecting your peace, protecting your mental health, protecting your finances? What would you say to your younger self?
That's a really good question. Look at you, Constance. That's good. So what I would tell myself, don't believe the lies. I would tell myself that you're worthy of everything good this life has to offer. That you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and just the way that you came out.
Do you think you would believe it? Do you think you would believe it?
I would. And I know everything happens for a reason, but when I was younger, I really, I didn't think I was beautiful. I didn't think I was worthy of certain things. Like I got teased a lot for different reasons. And so I took in a lot of that data. I experienced a lot of racism and discrimination coming up. And so all those things added, perceptions and viewpoints that I had to fight through. And thank God I had a praying grandmother. Thank God I had a loving mother who still tried to combat those deceptive seeds that tried to take hold. And that's why I think, I was able to break through it. But I would tell myself, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're going to do great things. And it doesn't matter what people say, because a lot of times it's not about you that they say those things. It's about what they're going through and their limitations.
Right.
And so really tell myself, don't believe the lies, you're good.
So do you think you would have believed it at that time?
I would hope I would. I don't know, but I would hope.
Yeah. There's some comments that I want to get to. That was very thoughtful, though. Thank you. So here's what people are saying. Not okay. Other way around. Everybody would have outrage. There's no excuse for domestic violence. Horrible to watch. Every time he pulled away, she kept coming back to attack him. Men suffer domestic abuse too, and she should be held accountable. Should he wish to press charges? Well, this definitely will hurt her career, but it's all of her on her own making. If it was him, bro, would be in court right now. He needs to leave her now. Lies. PR made me do it. Mind you, we saw a video with Jonathan Majors. TMZ can get proof and copies of everything except the Epstein's files. Go figure. The sad part is no one helped that man, but if it was the other way around, now if he was to defend himself, ShaCarri baby, it is not worth it. If you have to do all that, walk away. Ow. I mean, it's a hard lesson learned. That's all I got to say. That's a hard lesson learned. So for all of you, let's go to our final thoughts. Let's talk about what we can do or what we can teach somebody else, right? So Dr. Charm, you talked about, celebrating the things that you got accomplished, your wins. What's one daily or weekly practice maybe that you could recommend to other people for protecting their mental wellness, protecting their peace, and then, of course, ultimately their financial future? We'll start with you, Dr. Charm.
Meditation. I cannot stress the importance enough of meditation and visualizing what you want, where you are, and then just also to decompress through the day, to really sit in a space and just be it's very healing and it's very important. And yeah, I meditated yesterday. I meditated this morning. Even if it's like 1 or 2 minutes, that's still better than nothing. So incorporate that in your daily practice. And you can find me at Instagram, CharmGirl77. I got my comedy show coming up September 15th. 8 p.m. City Winery, Jokes and Notes. I'm so excited. And I will be hosting on Saturday, next Saturday, the ABNC All Black National Convention. I'll be hosting during the day, so I'll get to see you ladies in person. I'm very excited.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, find me, y'all. And then for anybody that is wanting to get help with their credit and financially fit, you can go to novemmoney.com/CHTIMS777, and I'll get you right with that too.
All right. She gonna get you right with your credit. She gonna tell you a joke. She gonna sell you a house. She gonna deliver your baby, and she gonna tell you your future, son. But Dr. Charm in the building. Dr. Felice, the same question goes for you. Okay. So what's a daily or a weekly practice that you can recommend for protecting your peace and your mental health and your finances and all the things? All the things.
So one of the first things I do is I intentionally center myself first thing in the morning. What do? I wake up, I do my prayer, I do my devotion, I do my visualization, I do my affirmations. That is really big for me. Like I speak positive things into the universe over and for me. And then I get still, like just a moment of stillness, like just to, and I pour into and invest in me first thing in the morning before I do anything else. So what does that do? That helps me to manage the stresses that may come throughout my day. And it helps me to be more intentional, focused, and provides clarity for me. And so I believe that that's a good thing. And I share that with my clients that I help them to start instilling in their lives as a routine, a daily routine. And that's what keeps me balanced. And so I'm Felice Hightower Britt, your Be Big coach. You can find me on Instagram at be.big.coach. You can find me on my website at thebebigcoach.com. Please reach out to me if you need any coaching and or therapy.
Be.big.coach. Hey, the be.big.coach. Yes, hunty. I love it. Dr. Felice, are you going to be at ABNC next week?
I'm not, because I've been traveling so much, and I'll be in New York the end of the month. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So Dr. SEW, Dr. Sabrina, same question goes for you. What's like a daily thing, a daily practice you recommend for protecting your mental wellness, your peace, your money, all of that?
Prayer. Honestly, just prayer. And I think it takes that for me and probably most of us to make it through all of the drama that's going on in this world right now, and for us to not get caught up in it, and also recognizing that a lot of what we're dealing with, even with actions, is not necessarily the individuals, but we are dealing with a lot of spirits. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm going to leave all that to Dr. Charm, but we deal with a lot of spirits on a day-to-day basis. So for me, it is prayer that keeps me centered and grounded. And when this plantar fasciitis is not acting up, it's walking, just becoming one with nature. That being said, I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted, and I am so excited and so delighted that I will also be attending the All Black National Conference, and I will be speaking on Saturday evening. So please stop in and meet me. I would love to meet some of you in person. We've shared so much time together over the last few weeks. I would love to meet you in person.
I can't wait. Dr. Sabrina, it's lit. It's going to be litty next week. That's great. I love everything that you guys are talking about. And, for me too, same thing. I mean, all you have the formula. And for those who don't believe in what you said and they think it's woo-woo, it's real. And that's the reason why we have the level of success that we have, is because we practice these things. So everything that you guys said, everything I do is an acronym, right? I do acronyms, but I call it the ramp. So if you want to get unstuck, if you want to have an optimal day, you do day by day, right? So the first thing I say is rise up an hour earlier. So if you get up at 5, get up at 4, just get up an hour early and just be really intentional about how you start your day. First thing you want to do that's rise an hour early. You want to do your affirmations. And so you want to speak life into your life. You want to speak over your life. Okay. Say, I am dope. I'm going to have an amazing day. All the good things about yourself. You speak that into your life. If you get up and you start saying, I'm going to have a fucked up day today because it's Monday, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a fucked up day today because it's Monday. But if you speak life over your life, it's going to be beautiful. The second thing, just like Dr. Charm said, is meditation. That's key. And some people don't really understand what meditation is, but it's just really sitting still, just getting your downloads, right? So your meditation is just hearing from God. Just hearing and just listening and just being still for a moment. Some of us are ADD and we can't sit that long, and that's okay. Just start for 2-3 minutes and then you build up from there, but just sit silent real quick. You know, you don't got to be scrolling your phone. You ain't got to be doing nothing. You ain't got to do your to-do list. Just be still. And lastly is pray. And when I'm talking about pray, I'm not saying, Lord, bless me with this, help me with that. The prayer is just a prayer of gratitude. It's just thanking God because God already knows what you need. But just showing him how grateful you are for your life, for your day, for what's getting ready to happen, all those things. And you do those things, I promise you will have an optimal day. And then do what, who said, Deborah Will Win said too, stretch, get your exercise on, get out the house, get some fresh air, enjoy the summertime, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the trees, or go to the gym, but get outside and do something. And you need those things for your mental health. A lot of us get so caught up in what we're doing that we forget to just pour into ourselves. And that's one of the ways that I really believe that we can pour into ourselves. So listen, I had such a pleasure, such a joy being here today, as always, every Wednesdays and Thursdays for me, but we're here 5 days a week. And, ShaCarri Richardson's story is a powerful reminder that that behind the fame and the fortune, athletes and public figures are simply human. And they face trauma and mental health struggles just like everybody else. The cost of untreated trauma can be staggering financially and personally and professionally. Because society, as a society, we must look beyond those headlines and work to provide the support, the understanding, and the resources that we need. Okay? So we appreciate you. We are here every single day. We'll say every single day of the weekday. Same bad time, same bad channel. And if you don't have your ticket to the All Black National Convention, sorry, mug is sold out. However, if you are in or around the ATL area and you want to just come by the hotel and say, hey, come through and say, hey, to all the ladies here. And let us know so that we can meet you in person, but you can't come in the building. You can't come in the ballroom. Sorry. So if you want to get any notifications, text the word Queens to 87948. We sure do appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow.